Okay, good evening. If you would please take your seats unless you're going to stand in the back. I'm going to check with our IT folks just to make sure we're good. I got the thumbs up. We're going to call this meeting to order for our July 14th, 2026 council meeting. And we'll start out with an initial roll call. Madam Clerk, whenever you're ready.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. When I call your name, please respond here. Councilmember Spencer.
Present.
Councilmember Popescu.
Here.
Councilmember Rigsby.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Daly.
Here.
Mayor Duper.
Present.
We have a quorum. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We'll now move on to our invocation and pledge of allegiance led by Dr. Rigsby.
Okay, let's bow our heads. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for your guidance of our city over the many years. We thank you for helping us tonight in our celebrations and our transitions that happen in city government. We ask that you help us to make wise decisions and select wise leaders and lead this wonderful city that you love so much. In your name, amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. City Manager, are there any items to be added or deleted?
No, sir.
Next, we're going to move into our public participation section. These are non-agendized items or speakers. Anyone wishing to speak is limited to 3 minutes pursuant to the Brown Act, and we ask that you submit a speaker slip. Madam Clerk, are there any speakers?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, we have 3 speakers. First one is Kathy Ohms.
And just so you know, none of our screens are on. Is yours on? Ours and our screens are not on.
I'm sorry, let me, just one moment, please.
Works.
All right, thank you. All right, Kathy Ohms.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Kathy Ohms, and this is my husband, Jeremy Ohms. We are a resident of Loma Linda. So we actually have 6 minutes because he's also on the list. If that's okay. But we'll make this quick. We are proposing a community proposal for public sand volleyball courts here in Loma Linda. And our involvement with this is not just us being an active family, but also we are hugely involved with Loma Linda Academy now that our kids are both elementary and high school. So this year we had the privilege and opportunity of actually coaching the girls volleyball sand now that they have developed that about 2 years now in a row. So this is our first year coaching at Loma Linda Academy, and we've enjoyed it so much. But there are some limitations that we are running into, and my husband's going to get into the details of that in just a few minutes. So we just want to plant the seed tonight because we are very passionate about the sport, and we both actually still play in our local tournaments, and also CBVA, which is the California Beach Volleyball Association, nearby. So here are a few points that we have this evening.
So I'll just highlight just 6 quick points. Sand volleyball, just so you know, is a little bit different than grass volleyball and indoor volleyball in terms of its low impact. It's really good for longevity. And so people as they age can typically play it to take care of their bodies. So essentially, I wanted to highlight, we sent out a survey. It's kind of just a starter point, and we were gathering interest and feedback from our contacts. And we are getting responses saying that the biggest issue is that there's a lot of interest to play, but there's no public courts to play. So the current courts are gated behind membership, or they have to drive out to Riverside or to Yucaipa to play. And one suggestion why we are feeling like it might be a good fit for this community is point number 2, which is it requires low maintenance. So when you have a development of sand volleyball courts, they take up a nice space and they do not require watering. They don't have to have surface changing. And so it actually has a low impact cost on the community. 3, there's high interest in local schools and colleges. Right now, it is a growing sport in the community. As she mentioned, we have been coaching for our local high school, Loma Linda University, and we've been finding out that other schools also are adding the sport to their schools, but do not have places to practice. So it could be a potential for recurring revenue where they're going to reserve the courts to potentially have consistent revenue for it to pay for itself. In talking about paying for itself, how much does it cost? One court costs roughly around $50,000. So you could potentially get 6 courts for $300,000. That could potentially, be a long-term investment in the community. Point number 5, it is a perfect blue zone fit. Outdoor activity, all ages, fits squarely with the Loma Linda healthy environment. And we have spoken to one of the city parks staff and mentioned that a potential home could be here in the Citrus Trails Park as it's under construction. So those are the main points. We did have a handout that hopefully will get distributed to you guys with also some notes from our survey responses. Any questions?
Kathy, this is my card. Can you please email me or call me? We used to have one here in town. I've been looking for somebody to help me bring it back. So,
Excellent.
Oh, you
Thank you
might have
very much.
scored. Okay, I think you said we have one more speaker, but before we do that, I need to read something into the record. We need to let everybody know that we're going to talk a little bit about our meeting procedures. In accordance with Senate Bill 707, City Council meetings are now being conducted in a hybrid format, allowing members of the public to participate in person or remotely via Zoom. Remote participants who wish to address the City Council may use the raise hand feature or the chat function as directed, and we have somebody monitoring that. If there is a disruption to the Zoom or audiovisual service, we will announce the interruption and recess the meeting for up to 1 hour, or until service is restored. And if service cannot be restored within that time, the City Council may determine, in accordance with applicable law, to resume the meeting. We ask that everyone, whether attending in person or remotely, conduct themselves in a respectful and courteous manner. If a participant's conduct materially disrupts the meeting, a warning will generally be issued before any corrective action is taken, which may include muting, disabling video, or removal from the remote meeting. In cases of severe disruption, immediate action may be necessary. Thank you, everyone, for your cooperation as we kind of embark with this new legislation that took effect the 1st of July. We appreciate your participation. I look forward to conducting a productive and respectful meeting tonight. Now, Madam Clerk, did we have a third speaker?
Yes, we did. We had Andrea De Leon.
Good evening, Mayor and Council and staff. I'm Andrea De Leon, the Executive Director for the Loma Linda Chamber of Commerce. I just wanted to rise to say thank you to Ron Daly, Councilman Daly, for all your work that you've always provided, but also to the support that you've given to the Chamber and to our local businesses. Just always have appreciated working with you. And that you spent your day with us last summit, and I hope that you will continue to consider spending the day with the summit to announce to the community that we are having a Loma Linda Leadership Summit again this year. Sorry, I only have 3 minutes, so I got to keep on going. I wanted to make sure that the council and everybody here knows that you're invited to participate in our Loma Linda Leadership Summit. It is going to be on Blue Zone in a conversation from, we're calling it Wisdom from the original Blue Zone. I can't say enough to say thank you to our committee, which includes Lorena and Chandra's team, as well as input from Dr. Spencer. And just look forward to a day from listening to cardiologists, to mental health, to what to eat, and spirituality included. So I invite all of you, and I hope you all will attend. And Councilman Daly, we wish you well, and we just much respect for you. Thank you.
Thank you, Andrea. All right, we'll move into section 2, which are scheduled agenda items. And beginning with 2A, which is adopting Council Bill R 2026-35, a resolution certifying the June 2nd, 2026 election results. Madam Clerk.
This is just for our council. Sorry, I wasn't prepared to speak, but this is for our council to adopt the resolution certifying the election for District 2. The Mayor Duper, Phil Duper, was elected for District 2, and Amy Jones was elected for District 3. So this is just certifying the resolution and the information, the ROV certification that they provided.
All right, take a motion.
Move it.
Second.
Okay, we have a first and a second.
Thank you. Motion is to adopt Council Bill R-2026-35, waive the reading of the resolution in its entirety and read by title only, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Loma Linda, California, reciting the fact of the general municipal election held on June 2nd, 2026, declaring the results and such other matters as provided by law. Please vote. Motion carried. Thank you.
All right, before we swear in the new council members, we want to turn the meeting over to Dr. Daly for some remarks.
Thank you, Mayor Duper. That's a dangerous thing to do. You should know that by now, but I'll take the opportunity. Before, I have some prepared remarks that I want to read to you. But before I turn to those prepared remarks, there are some VIPs that I need to recognize. When I began to have an interest in running for election and had a number of people talk with me about it, I went home and I talked with my family. I have 2 sons and a daughter and a wife to go with them. And at the time I was functioning as the Executive Associate Dean at the School of Dentistry at Loma Linda University. And so when we first had the discussions, let's just say it was not met with enthusiasm. My wife and daughter felt like, what the heck are you trying to do? You travel, you do lectures, you do X, Y, Z. And my two sons were, yeah, let's go for it. We can do it. Anyway, long story short, obviously it worked out so that I ran and somewhat to my surprise, won election, and that was 16 years ago. But I have to tell you that through previous elections, my family has been a major part of all of this. My son Colin, who passed away a few years ago, and my son Casey, and especially my wife Karen. Karen and Casey, would you stand so that people know who you are, because you're a big part of what I've been doing. Thank you. Okay, now let me bring up the prepared remarks. Words cannot express how much I appreciate the great honor of serving my community, friends, and the city of Loma Linda for these past 16 years. I have many memories of conversations with constituents and city staff that will always be with me as a constant reminder of an experience that I will always cherish. Following my loss in this most recent election, I have received a surprising number of telephone calls and had random conversations in Stater Brothers and Costco with friends who live in District 3. In those conversations, I learned, if they're true, I learned of specious assertions about my political priorities, more specifically that I am a traditional tax and spend liberal. Well, that was a surprise to everybody that knows me very well. So this is my opportunity to set the record straight. First, I continue to believe that Measure X, the 1 cent limited sales tax, would have been a good investment in our community, not a mere expense. In addition, philosophically, I have always believed that economic populism, combined with civic and spiritual renewal, points to a common good I lost my place on my computer here. Common good beyond the toxic politics of our time. While that perspective is at odds with some of my colleagues on the council, as the son of a missionary, it is deeply enrooted in my core values. I want to express my deepest gratitude to Jarb, the city manager, and to my colleagues with whom I have served on the council. I consider Jarb to be extremely competent and a good friend with good leadership instincts and quiet wisdom in his observations. He is very dedicated to his job, and his deep commitment to our city is a significant benefit. He is very aware and respectful of the origins, heritage, and values of Loma Linda, but also able to be progressive in helping our city grow. I've grown to deeply respect his cautious but steady leadership and consider him a trusted friend and colleague. Thank you, Jarb. I also want to recognize Mayor Phil Duper, who has been a consistent voice of wisdom and support over these past 16 years. We have addressed many challenges and concerns over our time on the council, and he has become a cherished friend and steady and trusted colleague throughout our association on the council. Thank you, Phil. I am fully aware that no person succeeds alone in this world, and that whatever contributions I have made are the result of efforts of many talented and dedicated people with whom I have had the privilege of association over these years. I share with them the honor of whatever success I have contributed in my career on the council and thank them for their work and support. They know who they are. But a special shout out for Lynette, Lorena, and Jennifer. Where are you, Jennifer? Back row. Oh, Jennifer, you should be front row. Okay. I would now like to take the privilege to share a few personal reflections and thoughts as I retire. To the City Council, I would say always remember we are all amateurs. I have yet to meet an elected official with a graduate degree in public administration or leadership. We all bring our unique strengths and weaknesses, but we need to have the courage to listen to our colleagues and not assume we are the experts. But it is encouraging to also remember that amateurs built the Ark, professionals built the Titanic. To the entire city staff, thank you for your consistent, kind, and competent work. I have had the privilege in my professional career to work over many years with many staff people, and they, without exception, have always been dedicated and ultimately made me appear more competent and kind than I deserved. Over the past 2 years, and during this most recent campaign, I have heard disparaging remarks made by candidates and council people regarding our city staff. Now, I find constructive criticism appropriate at times, but I have yet to find the person, however exalted their station and work, who did not do better work and put forth greater effort under a spirit of approval and encouragement than under a spirit of criticism. It is worthwhile to make others aware of their worth. To all city employees and everyone in this room, always remember that work, as well as in life, fulfillment, which is a basic human need. Fulfillment is doing that in which the hand, the head, and the heart go together. To the city leadership and the council, who now face significant challenges in determining our city's future, and who I know, always are focused on making the best decisions for our city. To quote Mildred Woodstruven, a clay pot sitting in the sun will always be a clay pot. It has to go through the white heat of the furnace to become porcelain. We all want the city of Loma Linda to be a porcelain city and not merely a clay pot. I am confident you will all work as a collaborative team to guide our city through the heat of the furnace we face. And finally, I want to leave you with a quote from Mahatma Gandhi, who has guided the quote has guided my perspective and actions during my career, and maybe it can be useful context for all of you. Quoting Gandhi, "The things that will destroy us are politics without principle, pleasure without conscience, wealth without work, knowledge without character, business without morality, science without humanity, and worship without sacrifice." Thank you for the opportunity to experience community service in this wonderful city. And now I intend to follow the advice of my father, who said, "Ron, do the things you have to do and do them well. But be wise enough to do some of the things you want to do." I now intend to do some of the things my wife and I want to do. Thank you. It has been an honor.
Ron, before you go, we have a couple of certificates here for you. We have a certificate from the Board of Supervisors presented by Supervisor Don Rao. Okay. You should be holding this, not me. And then a plaque from the city to Ron Daly, in grateful recognition and deep appreciation for 16 years of exemplary service to the city of Loma Linda. Thank you for your leadership, integrity, dedication, and contributions to the community. With sincere gratitude and respect, the Loma Linda City Council, city employees, and citizens of Loma Linda. All right, Madam Clerk, we have the swearing in.
Thank you. So may I ask councils-elect Phil Duper and Amy Jones to please step in front of our dais, please. Thank you. So may I have, can you hear me? May I have you please raise your right hand and please respond, "I do," at the end of the oath. Philip Duper and Amy Jones, do you solemnly swear that you will support and defend the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that you will bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California, that you take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion, and that you will well and faithfully discharge the duties upon which you are about to enter. Thank you. I will have you each sign, which I'll bring a pen, your oath of office, please. So congratulations, thank you. I will also provide you each with the certificate of election. I'll read that to you. So I, Lynette Areolas, Clerk of the City of Loma Linda, State of California, do hereby certify that at a general municipal election held in said city on the second day of June 2026, Philip Duper was elected to office of member of the City Council District 2. Amy Jones was elected to the office of member of the City Council District 3, as appeared by the officials' returns of said election and the statement of votes cast now on file in my office. In witness whereof, I have hereto affixed my hand and official seal on this 14th day of July 2026. Thank you very much. Congratulations. Please come up.
I'll be very quick. Hello, Council and Loma Linda, Mayor and Council Member Amy Jones. My name is Ulysses. I am here on behalf of Assembly Member Robert Garcia to welcome you back. Congratulations on your reelection, and to welcome new Council Member Amy Jones to the Loma Linda City Council. I am newly back to Loma Linda representing this side of our district, so please feel free to reach out to me with any concerns. I will give you my card again. I know we're in touch already, but we're here to help. Loma Linda is an amazing city that I really enjoy being a part of, and I am excited for all of the work that the council will continue to do with your immeasurable wisdom and with your new blood here. So we're excited to see all the work that's coming, and I have these for you.
Such a newbie. Okay, so I was deciding if I should actually prepare something or just speak from the heart, and I decided to prepare something. And then I said, should I tell them about all the voters who grilled me so hard, acting like they would never vote for me, questioning me about my views on big politics, little politics, how I'm going to solve the problems of Loma Linda? And then they followed it up whereas, well, I was always voting for you. I just wanted to test you a little bit. And I said, I won't really tell those stories, or should I tell the story about how I actually did not tell my family I was running, and I was gonna let them find out on their own. My mom decided to come. She's in the middle. She found out through a relative that I was running, so sorry, Mom. I said, I'll tell them if I win. If not, nobody has to know anything. But I really had a great time running, so this is what I've prepared. And my friends helped me write it a little bit. So good evening. I would like to take a few minutes to express gratitude and thoughts for the recent election. Firstly, to introduce myself, my name is Amy Jones. I asked my friends what I should share, and they said, Amy, just tell them that you like sports, politics, and a little bit of gardening, which I do. So if anyone has those interests, let me know. I'm really excited to have the opportunity to serve the Loma Linda community. Over the years, I've had the privilege to meet amazing people here, and they were my inspiration to run for council. My campaign team, AKA my friends, are the heroes of this election run because I did not do this by myself. Samantha wasn't able to be here, but she led out as being my amazing campaign manager. And thank you to all my friends who canvassed nonstop. They called, they shared social posts, they text other people in the district. And I would really like to thank my chief campaign strategist, who is anonymous, but thank you so much. I would like to take a moment, though, quickly. I know we have a lot of people here, so if you helped me in any way, whether it was like a word of encouragement, a social share, passing out flyers, if you could just stand. So these are some of the heroes of Loma Linda, and we really wanted to engage the community with this election because we represent our community, and to get them more involved was really important to me and is part of my strategy. And I am really proud to be in a community that supports kindness and community building. In a world where politics mean many things, we decided to campaign in our own way. A campaign that meant supporting our neighbors and listening to their interests and concerns. This election had a really high voter turnout. I think we were one of the highest ones in the state, with coming in around 42% of everyone voting. And I think that means that all of the candidates who were running really impacted driving people to vote. And that's honestly a true win. We can only have one winner, but when everyone votes and everyone has a voice, that means we have representation on the council. So I would like to thank my opponents for also running great campaigns and talking to people too. And thank you to the community for believing in me and trusting me as your council person. I look forward to learning and serving for the next 4 years with my fellow council members. Thank you.
All right, we'll move on to section 2B. Consider the reorganization. There'll be nomination and election of mayor, mayor pro tem, and then we'll get into committee assignments.
Is it possible that we postpone all of the committees and all that till next time? I think when I first got elected, it was just like for Amy as a new person, having time to sit with the committees and the mayor and all of that to make an informed decision. Is it possible to postpone it, or what do you guys think? Just with all, like having a list of the committees and then the duties of the mayor and the mayor pro tem and all that, that's what I'm wondering is if we can postpone just until the next time.
I don't think we can postpone them. That's in the charter, but we can postpone the committees possibly.
I won't be here next meeting.
You won't be.
So I'd rather do it now. But at this point, we have
I think we just do it all at once.
At this time, we have nominations for mayor and mayor pro tem. Right? Is this part of the meeting is usually run by someone other than the mayor in the past?
The clerk or
the clerk should run the election process, right?
Yes, for the mayor.
Okay.
So I can, if we're going to proceed, I can.
Rhonda, did you want to?
I always thought we should postpone, but if we can't, because the charter, like, that's my request, is if we are able to postpone, but it's up to you guys.
Well, that's the next item.
Yeah, let's move forward.
That's item 2C. We haven't done 2B yet.
Let's look at 2B first then, Madam Clerk.
Thank you. So, which is nomination of election of mayor. So I will take nominations now, or nominations are now open for the office of mayor. Any nominations? I'll accept.
I'd like to make a nomination. I nominate Amy Jones for mayor, and because I think it needs to be on a slate, Rhonda Spencer for mayor pro tem.
I'll second that.
So for office of mayor, we have council member Amy Jones has been nominated for mayor. Are there any other nominations for mayor? Okay, then having none, nominations are closed. So
Wait a
do
minute.
by call-
Just for purposes, I'll nominate myself.
Okay, so thank you. So we have a council member Duper has been nominated for mayor. So any other nominations? Hearing none, nominations are closed. So all those, and I'll do vote. Rather than do it on our monitor, I'll take a
Point of order. Do nominations require a second?
They don't. So all those in favor of Councilmember Amy Jones as mayor, please vote, or I'll take your, I'm going to do this by, I'll go across the council members. So Councilmember Spencer?
And there's no possibility to postpone, or there's no? Okay, so
This would be for mayor, Councilmember. I'm taking the number of votes for Amy Jones.
you want me to say, like, how do we?
You know what, let me do this on, I don't know if we can do it here on the motion. I'll go across to all our council members for Amy Jones, and then I'll do another vote for, or you can choose between Amy Jones or Phil Duper, and then I'll take the vote there. So, Councilmember Spencer, do you vote for Amy Jones or for Phil Duper?
You know, that's a tough, and before I vote, I just want to say that I think both candidates are really good for the city, and it's very tough to try to say I really wish we could wait. If we can't wait, I think just going off of the number of turnout that Amy had, I think her community would say they support and want Amy for mayor. And with such a large turnout, I think I'd have to go with that. But I'm still of the mindset, so if I have to vote, then I would say Amy, but I would rather we wait.
I vote for Amy Jones.
Councilmember Rigsby? Amy? Yes.
I vote for Amy.
Councilmember Jones?
I vote for Amy.
And Councilmember, or Mayor, or Councilmember Duper?
I vote for Phil Duper.
Okay. So the vote is 4 votes for Amy and 1 vote for Councilmember Duper. So Councilmember Amy Jones is the mayor. So now I will turn over to the mayor for the nominations of Mayor Pro Tem. We did have one nomination for Councilmember Spencer, but I'll let you proceed with this.
Thank you. A little bit unexpected, but so do I call for the vote? Or do we
Any
need
other
another
nominations? I would just,
Okay.
if
Are
there's
there any other
nominations.
nominations for Mayor Pro Tem? No.
The nominations would be closed, and we would just take a vote.
Are we voting on the screen or verbally?
No, we'll vote here. So in favor of Councilmember Spencer as Mayor Pro Tem, I'll take a roll call vote. Councilmember Spencer?
I'll support.
Councilmember Popescu?
Yes.
Councilmember Rigsby?
Yes.
Councilmember Duper? Mayor Jones?
Yes.
The vote is 5-0. So Councilmember Spencer is our Mayor Pro Tem. I have a minute of just do some, we'll stay in everyone's seat and let me just change the nameplates, please. And if I can just have a minute just to do the seating arrangements on the software. So I'm hopeful that this will work. I changed the seats, and so it should come up correctly. Thank you. So we can proceed.
Okay. So you'll have to be patient with me for this meeting. Okay, so now we go to 2C. And Councilperson Spencer has asked if we can delay the vote. Is that a possibility?
But Dusty won't be here, I think.
Oh, Dusty, okay.
Up to you guys. I don't know. Up to you guys.
I remember last time that was the opposite issue. You weren't here on the first meeting, and I tried to delay it, and they said, no, everybody's here. Everybody knew what the agenda was. They should vote on it. So I think we're all here. I'm ready to vote on the committees. So as far as, what the committees are and the times, obviously I'm aware of it. Everybody's been on the council here for a number of years. They should be aware of what the committees do and the times. So I don't see a reason for us to postpone.
Okay. Anyone else? Well, okay, then we'll go on to the boards and commissions. I know I've seen in the past it's been done different ways. Sometimes we do them all at once or one at a time. I would suggest that we leave the boards and commissions the same as is, and that we work to fill Councilperson Daly's, and if Councilperson Spencer wants boards, I know that the incoming one, I've seen the process, the newest member usually gets trash. But that's
terrible.
Well, I love environmental things, so there are boards I'm interested in, but we can proceed organized where do we either want to do them all at once or one at a time?
I think typically they would do one at a time. I did get most of their schedules. So on the description of each board or commission, I did note the day and time of their meetings, and so that the council members would be aware of when their meetings were and if that worked with their schedule. But we would do it one at a time.
Okay, and then some of the boards have 2 people appointed and an alternate, and then some have 1 person appointed and an alternate?
I think it's IVDA that we may have 2 delegates and 1 alternate, and then the others are 1 delegate and 1 alternate.
Okay. So then for San Bernardino County Transportation Authority, is there a nomination?
I was the alternate for 2 years. I have no problem with becoming the primary. It's up to the council to decide. What I can tell you is that I have a very good working relationship with every single county supervisor and a number of mayors. So I've been attending the meetings even though I'm the alternate. So Dusty was there for many years. I think there's significant progress we could make as a city if we had more proactive representation there. That board spends about $3 billion a year in public improvement projects. They give us quite a bit of money, but there's more that we can do with them. There's other unique collaboration that can help us give us support on letters from Congress and grants. There's multiple ways for us to collaborate with them beyond just representing there. So I would be honored if you would allow me to be the primary, but that's up to the council.
Are there any other nominations?
Who was the primary?
It was Ron.
Oh, yeah.
I'll nominate Amy.
I am interested, but that time might be a little bit challenging for me since I do have regular work hours.
The time is no issue for me.
So then I propose that Ovi be the primary and Amy be the backup. I think it's good for the mayor to be seen at these meetings.
I agree.
Okay. I can be an alternate.
Promise to attend as much as possible.
Yes. Okay, so then, I'm so sorry. Lynette, do we vote now?
What we can do
Or do
is we can go down across for each board
And then
then
vote all
just,
at
yeah,
once?
and if there's any issue, if we have more than one nomination, then we'll take a vote. But otherwise, if it's a consensus, we can do that.
Okay, Omnitrans, is there a nomination?
I was the alternate on that as well. I have no problem with being a primary. The only significant interest that I have in that board is I think, and we should have done it the last 2 years, but I think we can do more for it. They've promoted a huge hydrogen and alternative energy projects because of their bus systems. I think the city dropped the ball. We got millions of dollars that the airport got for electrification that we probably should have gotten. I think there's an opportunity for us to do some amazing hydrogen projects, and I think this board is one that can help us with that. So I would very much be willing to be the primary.
Who was primary before?
Dr. Daly.
Is anyone else wanting to nominate someone?
I think
We need an alternate.
I nominate Phil or Dusty for that. Or do you guys want to be that?
I can't make the meetings, so,
It's at 8 a.m.
yeah.
I can be an alternate, I guess, if you need a. Or was I an alternate on the? I was on the airport one, an alternate.
That's okay. Inland Valley Development Agency.
We had Mr. Duper, Mr. Rigsby, and I think you stated that you want to keep everybody the same, and I think that's fine.
And, yeah, and Rhonda was the alternate.
Yeah, and so nothing changes there, if that's okay.
And
I am interested in that one, but I'm also okay with leaving things the same. Ron, did you want to stay as the
You
alternate?
can be the alternate, because maybe I'll be the alternate on Confire. So you be the alternate on the IVDA.
Are you interested in the primary position
Why don't you
on,
do that?
on
Yeah,
that
'cause
board?
I would be, but I'm also okay leaving things the same as the new person. I think starting as an alternate would be a good fit until I can get to know my schedule a little bit better.
Okay.
yeah, I don't think it would be wise to change the primary membership because the current chair of that board is
Mr. Duper.
Mr. Duper. We should keep that in place.
I agree.
So
Okay.
who's the alternate?
The alternate is you.
But I think Amy
But
said she
I'm
wanted
the-
to be alternate.
Yeah,
So
I'm the
I'll-
secondary member. We get two members on that
Yeah.
board.
But
And
Amy
one
said she wanted to
alternate.
be
So
alternate.
Amy
And you can be the
I'll
alternate.
be the alternate.
and Dusty.
Confire?
I think Mr. Duper's the
Duper's-
primary.
Yeah, keep it the same.
May I interrupt? There's San Bernardino International Airport Authority.
Oh,
Oh, sorry, I missed one. Sorry.
I'm
Sam-
currently the primary and the secondary is Mr. Duper. And I think that works pretty well.
Is anyone else interested? No. Okay. Now Confire?
I think Phil is the primary, and if I can be the alternate, just to go.
Who's the current,
Who's the current alternate? I don't know.
you know, Phil? Am I? I'm the alternate. I'll give it up. I can't make the meetings.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
I used to chair Confire for over 10 years, but I can't make the meetings.
Okay. California Joint Powers Insurance Authority?
That usually goes to the newcomer.
Who was primary? in
I think
Insurance?
Councilmember Rigsby was and Jarb, I think covered, but I think Councilmember Rigsby was the
Yeah.
primary delegate.
Yeah, I was on it for a while and I never attended, so I don't even know anything about it.
Lynette,
So
what
I
is that
don't covet that
commission?
position.
Well, I know that they have their annual meeting, their annual Board of Directors meetings, and I know that Jarb has attended that, so it's the annual.
Yeah, it usually, I think it's next month, and it's 5:30 in Orange County. So if you drive to La Palma for the meeting. But I have already been alternate, so I usually attend.
So who wants to be the primary?
I mean, if nobody wants it, I'd be willing to do it.
It's yours.
It sounds pretty interesting.
It's a good thing, is
Like city insurance? All right. Happy to take it. And then Southern California Associated Governments.
I'm sorry. We need a alternate for that one.
I thought Jarb is.
Jarb, you're going to be the alternate? Okay.
Jarb.
Okay. Southern California Associated Governments.
I've been the primary on that, but I think it's time for the mayor to be the primary on that. It's basically, it's a meeting once a year, but it's a great opportunity to actually network with lots of cities and see what they all do. And it's basically covers most of Southern California. And I think it's a good opportunity. They meet once a year in Palm Desert. So it's a pain in the butt because you have to file a 700 for one day and then file another 700 for the next day, which is another quad committee system they have. But other than that, it's actually, there's some very good meetings and opportunity to really network. And
I kind of feel like you're easily giving it up, though.
no, because I'll tell you why I'm not too concerned by giving it up. I can still go. I don't need to be the primary. So, but I think you as the mayor, I think being the face of Loma Linda and introducing yourself to all the other, pretty much anybody who's anybody shows up to that. So I think it's a great opportunity for you to network and understand what other cities do. It really is a great, great learning press. That's why I think it would be a good idea for you to go. So, and it's once a year. It's one meeting on. It's all day Thursday and half a Friday in May. And it's pretty much the same. You don't have to attend all the meetings, but they have workshops, they have student showcases, they have unique leaders. It's really a great opportunity to learn. So, but it's up to you. So I'm just telling you, I think it's a good opportunity for you to do it.
Thank you. Is anyone else interested in that one?
I'm the alternate.
Okay, then.
Yeah.
I will do it with Jarb as the alternate.
He shows up too.
Okay, so
Do you want me to just go over who are the delegates? Okay.
please.
So for the San Bernardino County Transportation Authority, San Bernardino Council of Governments, we have the delegate as Ovi Popescu, Councilmember Popescu, and Mayor Jones as the alternate. For Omnitrans, Councilmember Popescu is the delegate, and Mayor Pro Tem Spencer is the alternate. For Inland Valley Development Agency, Council members Duper and Rixby are the delegates, and Mayor Amy is the alternate. For San Bernardino International Airport Authority, Councilmember Rigsby is the delegate, and Councilmember Duper is the alternate. For Confire Joint Powers Authority Board of Directors, Councilmember Duper is the delegate, and Mayor Pro Tem Spencer is the alternate. For the California Joint Powers Authority, Joint Powers Insurance Authority, Mayor Jones is the delegate, and Jarb is our alternate. And for Southern California Associated Governments, Mayor Jones is the delegate, and Jarb is the alternate.
Thank you. I think we need to vote first.
I don't know if we
Consensus.
have consensus.
Okay. Alrighty, and then we will go to public hearing, item 3A. Public hearing, Council Bill R 2026-36, consider adopting a resolution adopting the report and statement of expenses for the spring 2026 weed abatement program.
How are you doing, council members? I'm Robbie. I'm the fire inspector for the city. I'm gonna bring you the results of the 2026 spring weed abatement program. Abatements start on the 30th through the 31st of 26. I initially inspected 300 parcels and ended up sending 85 notices to properties that did not meet the program's qualifications for weed abatement. 4 letters were returned after the letters were sent out April 1st, which then I posted on the properties for physical viewing for the property owner. April 15th and the 16th is when I conducted the second round of inspections. At that time, if no one had called in to ask for the extensions, they were then given to our city contractor, and those were about 10 parcels that needed to be abated by that contractor. June 16th is when we mailed the owner of record for each parcel to give them an opportunity to make the payment of the bill by July 14th, which is today. Parcels abated that remained unpaid are listed on Exhibit D on your computers. Subsequent to July 14th, hearing and council action, the report of costs with accompanying resolution will be forwarded to the Property Tax Division of the San Bernardino County Auditor Control Recorder for collection as assessment and/or liens against the property. Right now, there is 7 properties left that need to be paid. There's one payment that got squeaked in today. It was APN 028109141. Is at this time, I recommend that the City Council receive the report of the Spring 2026 Weed Abatement Program, approve the report and accounting of costs, and adopt the accompanying resolution establishing liens and assessments on the properties.
I'll move it.
Second.
Just, I guess there's a public hearing.
This is a public hearing,
Public hearing.
so you have to open the public hearing.
Public hearing open. Is there anyone signed up for public comment? No? Hearing closed. Can I get a little guidance on what I'm supposed to do next?
No, we just asked for the vote. So
Okay, please vote.
he moved it, I'll second it.
I'm sorry, just one moment. Thank you. Motion. My apology. Motion to accept the Spring 2026 Weed Abatement Program Report, approve the accounting cost, and adopt Council Bill R-2026-36, waiving the reading in its entirety and reading by title only, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Loma Linda, California, adopting the report and statement of expenses for the Spring 2026 Weed Abatement Program and imposing a lien upon property for payment therefor. Please vote. Motion carried. Thank you. May I ask a quick question, just to be sure I'm correct? Councilmember Duber, is your name showing up on your screen? Your name is not showing up on your screen. Okay. I don't know if the change took effect, but if there's any, while we do the vote, if there's any incorrect voting, we'll have to correct that. Thank you. I think we're okay for right now.
Thank you. Now, public hearing 3B, introduce 3 council bill ordinances on first reading and consider setting the second readings to August 11th, 2026 to adopt municipal code amendments establishing regulations for short-term rentals and permitting short-term rental use within residential and planned community zones.
And I have a presentation. So good evening, Mayor and members of the City Council. My name is Gabriel. I'm the Associate Planner. The first item today that we'll be reviewing as part of our presentation will be the Development Code Amendment number 2025-0013, establishing regulations for short-term rentals within the City of Loma Linda. And we do have a PowerPoint for you that will come up on screen shortly. Thank you. Okay, so some of the key takeaways with the short-term rentals is that first and foremost, staff has been working on developing a framework for regulating short-term rentals since the direction from council back from the 2024 revenue generating budget workshop. And Lynette, my clicker isn't working, so if you can go to the next slide, please. Thank you. The city currently has approximately 30 active short-term rentals, but the municipal code does not contain any regulations specifically governing these uses. To address the increasing demand and to protect residential neighborhoods, staff has prepared a new chapter for the municipal code under Chapter 5.26, which will establish a permitting and regulatory framework for short-term rentals. Next slide. Can we
I'm
go
sorry.
back to? Sorry. Oh, Okay, so some of the proposed regulations established by this ordinance establishes the initial permit and an annual renewal process, operational standards, and conditions for permit denial or revocations for short-term rentals. Short-term rental operators would be required to comply with the city's noise, property maintenance, business license, transient occupancy tax, or otherwise known as TOT requirements, and each property would also be required to provide guests with established house rules. A permit could be revoked following 2 or more substantiated calls for service involving the Sheriff's Department, Code Enforcement, or the Fire Department. The initial permitting fee would be $540 with an annual renewal fee of $235. Those fees were previously established at the updated fee schedule that occurred in November of 2025 as well. Next slide. At the June 17th, 2026 public hearing, the staff had proposed the ordinance to the Planning Commission in which they recommended approval along with the following recommendations to be added or modified as part of Chapter 5.26. The first modification would be that as the code currently stands, there is a requirement that 2 or more short-term rentals cannot be within a 300-foot radius of the proposed short-term rental. The change from Planning Commission would be for the overconcentration standard, which would allow for no more than 1 short-term rental per 300 lineal feet measured from the property line. The second recommendation would be that the Traffic Advisory Committee would be authorized to restrict short-term rental parking on streets with substandard widths. And then the last recommendation would be to limit occupancy for short-term rentals to 2 persons per bedroom, plus an additional 2 persons. However, with children under the age of 2 would be exempt from that occupancy limit. Next slide. So moving a little bit into the fiscal impact of this ordinance. So the proposed ordinance is not expected to, or not anticipated to adversely impact the general fund. However, based on the approximate 30 active short-term rentals that the city has identified, the program is projected to generate approximately $93,398 in its first year of revenue, $78,038 in its annual ongoing revenue, $16,200 in initial short-term rental permit fees, $3,870 in initial business license fees, $4,500 in fire inspection fees, and $68,400 annually in TOT taxes. Additional revenue would be generated through the annual permit renewals and the city's business license tax. Next slide.
I have a question on that.
Sure.
Are those independent, or does the total include all of them?
It's total.
Okay. And you said we have 30.
Approximately 30, yes.
So if 10 people join, how would we even know? How do you have any way of knowing that someone's renting their house?
So as part of this process, the city is looking at certain permitting programs specifically drafted for short-term rentals. These programs do allow you to observe all of the active short-term rental properties within the city, whether they be from Airbnb, VRBO, or any other websites that host these short-term rentals. So it's able to capture that data. When we had previously been working with that software company, when they had proposed the software, that's where we had determined that there was approximately 30 currently in the city. It could be more, it could be less, as of probably 6 months ago when we last looked at it. But that's kind of where we arrived at that 30 number.
Is there any history that has shown that when the city adopts regulations and people know that it's allowed, that maybe more people actually decide to go ahead and pursue it?
In some cases, a permitting path forward can allow for people to get into the short-term rental business, and if they find a path that's easy from the city, then they'll be likely to do it. It's a little bit hard to tell because Loma Linda is not your typical short-term rental city in the sense that short-term rentals are kind of utilized for vacations or things like that nature. But in Loma Linda specifically, the short-term rentals that we've identified have been used more for hospital uses, extended stays for people staying at Loma Linda University. So there is a market there in the city, and that's kind of what we've...
Yeah, I have a feeling there's going to be a lot more than 30 people. So I suspect that maybe Not that we would necessarily market it, but I would think that people would actually promote their houses more often now. But because I guess your estimates assumes that nothing changes. But if the numbers go up, that can double or triple,
Correct.
which is a significant amount of revenue, which would be good for us.
Gabriel, one question on that is the proton therapy, because I know we have patients that they may come to Loma Linda for proton. Does that count as like, that is a short-term rental and those people would need to
Yeah, so
register this?
with short-term rentals, anything that is 30 days or less would be considered a short-term rental. So if they are here for proton therapy and staying at that residence for 30 days or less, then yes, it would be
Then it
considered.
would be that. And then what's the two-person thing? How did you come upon?
So the occupancy, which is the 2 persons per bedroom, that's a standard occupancy limit that has been placed by other larger cities, such as Anaheim or cities that have short-term rental ordinances already in place. I know in my personal experience in Laverne, we had a very similar ordinance and had a very similar guideline for controlling occupancy, but that's obviously up to the council to decide on whether they want to pursue that.
Thank you.
Do you know whether or not the 30 currently identified properties are violating the density provision of the ordinance?
We are
We currently outlaw Airbnbs, so they're violating all of them.
correct. Yeah, they are prohibited currently, so essentially all of them are
But are they,
non-compliant.
if we pass this, will there be, I'm just wondering if there are 2 right next to each other, the one that it puts in their money for the application gets it and the other one doesn't? Is that how it works?
Yeah, so if somebody already has an active short-term rental in place and there is that over-concentration rule of being within 300 feet, then yeah, that second person who applies after the fact would be denied due to over-concentration.
So there's your encouragement to apply.
And Gabriel, do we have the ability to enforce these rules? Because I know we're a little bit short-staffed, so if we're adding, this as an allowable opportunity, and there's noise complaints and things like that, does the city have the staffing to regulate it?
That's a great question. Right now, in terms of feasibility for inspections and reviewing it might be a little tight, but the new software that we're exploring is going to significantly aid the city in identifying any non-compliant short-term rentals, therefore making staff's time a little bit more efficient in enforcing these code sections. So we're hoping that that new software that we're exploring is going to benefit staff in terms of being more efficient in responding.
And would there be any priority, since we know there's about 30 that are currently, violating the city ordinance currently? Are they going to be prioritized because we know about them, or if there's a new person who wants to start an Airbnb that did it correctly for the whole time and started the process without pre-violating it, how would we take that into consideration?
So right now, we're taking the approach of not going into a punitive action. So we are going to allow anybody that has an active short-term rental to apply for the permit, just like anybody else. Everybody will get the opportunity. There is a section of the code that if you already have an active short-term rental, that concentration clause won't apply to you because it already existed. So it would be unfair to say, hey, now that we have this over-concentration law, you can't do your short-term rental anymore now that even though you've been doing it for X amount of days. So we're going to allow for that to occur, and anything going forward would be subject to the new ordinance regulations.
Thank you. And one more question. I know students have a really hard time finding housing, just any housing in general, when they come to be students at the university. And if we allow short-term rentals, how do we think that that will affect the overall housing landscape for our students? Because I do know people who are currently having Airbnbs that are not permitted. And I know there's quite a bit of interest because they feel as though they can make more money on short-term rentals versus long-term rentals to students. And I would want to make sure that our students have housing opportunities and they're not being taken away by Airbnbs.
That's a great question. In our city, it's a little bit hard to determine that at this time, but the city staff is implementing a monitoring program where if council would desire, we can come back to you and provide you estimates about how many permits have been pooled in about a year from now, and then we could determine whether or not there's been an impact in housing stock. But right now, we haven't gotten that detailed into it.
Okay, thank you.
Are short-term rentals subject to TOT?
Yes.
And how is that collected?
It would be, or I would defer to Sonia, our finance director.
Good evening. They would, once they apply, finance would be aware that they exist, and then we will send out forms for them to fill out and submit their TOT quarterly.
And I would add that as part of, I don't want to get too much into the software because we haven't settled anything yet, but as part of what we're exploring in that software, there is the ability to notice all of the active short-term rentals about the upcoming ordinance and kind of put them on notice, say, hey, this is coming up, be prepared, and we're going to provide instructions on how to apply, how to do TOT, and so forth.
Okay, sorry, one last question. Okay, so are we then going to regulate the Airbnbs that aren't currently registering?
Correct.
And will there be an issue of saying, well, it wasn't allowed previously, and now you're allowing it, so now that it's allowed, I can't register or I can't continue operations?
The people who currently have active short-term rentals will be allowed to continue as long as they file the permit, but everybody else who's moving forward would be subject to the over-concentration regulations of the 300 feet.
So then in the past, like up to date, I know we knew they were doing them, but we weren't enforcing it. So how are we going to enforce it now that it's allowed for the ones who are not registering?
So through that permitting program, it's going to allow us, because it allows us to identify all the addresses and all the property owners, we will send a few notifications through code enforcement to notify them of the upcoming ordinance and how to proceed with the permit. And then they'll be allotted a certain amount of time to obtain the ordinance to be in compliance.
Thank you.
And with that, if anybody has any other questions, I'll move on to recommendation. So staff and the Planning Commission recommend that the City Council determine the project or the proposed code amendment does not qualify as a project under the California Environmental Quality Act. Also to adopt Council Bill O-2026-09, adopt Council Bill number O-2026-10, and adopt Council Bill number O-2026-11 with the proposed recommendations made by Planning Commission at that June public hearing. And again, if anybody has more questions, I'm happy to answer.
So now I open public hearing. Public hearing open. No. Public hearing closed.
I guess I'll move the 3 council bill ordinances, which would be in order of Council Bill 02026-09, an ordinance of City of Loma Linda. I'll waive the reading.
I'll second them.
And then Council Bill 02026-10, which is also an ordinance of City of Loma Linda, and also Council Bill 02026-11, which is also an ordinance of City of Loma Linda.
And set second reading?
Oh, I'm sorry, and second reading for the next City Council meeting on the 11th. Thank you.
Motion. I know it's automatically going to vote. The motion is to determine that the proposed code amendment does not qualify as a project under the California Environmental Quality Act, and to introduce the 3 council bills on first reading, setting the second reading to August 11th, 2026, waiving the full reading of all 3 council bills and reading by title only as follows. Council Bill O-2026-09, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Loma Linda, adding Chapter 5.26, short-term rentals, to Title V, Business Taxes, License, and Regulations of the Loma Linda Municipal Code to establish regulations governing the operations of short-term rentals within the City of Loma Linda. In Council Bill O-2029-10, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Loma Linda, California, amending in part Chapter 17.32, Residential Zones, Section 17.32.020, land use regulations and allowable uses, including Table 2-1, allowed uses and permit requirements for residential zones to Title 17, excuse me, zoning of the City of the Loma Linda Municipal Code to establish short-term rentals as a permitted use within residential zones subject to Chapter 5.26, short-term rentals. And Council Bill O-2026-11, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Loma Linda, California, amending in part Chapter 17.44, special purpose zones and specific plans, Section 17.44.020, land use regulations and allowable uses, including Table 27, allowed uses and permit requirements for special purpose zones of the Loma Linda Municipal Code to establish short-term rentals as a permitted use within the planned community zone subject to Chapter 5.26, short-term rentals. Please vote. Motion carried. Thank you.
Okay, 3C, Public Hearing Council Bill O-2026-08, introduce on first reading and consider setting the second reading to August 11th, 2026, a municipal code amendment establishing regulations for city communication signs.
And I will again be presenting this item. So again, thank you, City Council. Today we will be looking at Development Code Amendment number 2026-0013 concerning city communication signs. The proposed amendment would establish regulations for these signs when located on city property or city controlled property. Next slide. Some key takeaways about city communication signs. The municipal code currently does not contain any specific regulations in the sign code for city communication signs. Staff has therefore prepared an amendment to Chapter 17.18 of the sign ordinance, including a new section, Title 17.18.200, which will govern these types of signs. City communication signs would provide a platform for public safety alerts, emergency notifications, traffic information, community events, and other municipal messages. The ordinance would also allow the city to pursue revenue-generating sponsorships and advertising partnerships while retaining control over the use of signs. Emergency alerts and municipal messages would be given priority and could replace sponsored or advertising content at the discretion of the city manager. And on the screen here, you'll see an example of a city communications sign done by one of our neighboring cities in Yucaipa. Next slide. The proposed regulations and amendment would add a definition of city communication sign to the ordinance and establish specific regulations and permit requirements for these said signs. The amendment would also exempt city communication signs from the section of the municipal code that prohibits, generally prohibits off-site signs such as these. And each city communication sign would require planning commission approval through a conditional use permit, which would allow the commission to review the size, location, design, lighting, and compatibility with the surrounding development. The commission would also be able to regulate the physical design and placement of the sign, but would not be able to regulate the content of individual advertisements or messages. All signs would be required to comply with all city applicable standards related to architecture, aesthetics, material, lighting, and design. And before advertising could be displayed, the city and the advertiser or sponsor would be required to execute a property lease agreement. The agreement would address operational requirements, maintenance, insurance, indemnification, and termination provisions. Importantly, the proposed amendment does not remove the city's existing prohibition on private off-site commercial billboards. This exemption applies only to qualifying city communication signs located on property owned or controlled by the city. Next slide. And with that, city staff and the Planning Commission are recommending that the City Council determine again that the proposed code amendment does not qualify as a project under the California Environmental Quality Act, and that and to adopt Council Bill O-2026-08, which would create a new regulating framework under the municipal code for city communication signs. And with that, I'm happy to answer any questions.
I don't want to give Jarb a hard time, but when Dusty and I got on the council, we were proposed to do this many, many years. Why is it taking so long?
Stan Brower opposed it. His opposition killed it.
Okay. Out of curiosity, you may or may not know, but I'm just curious, has anybody approached us ready to lease the land and build a sign?
Yes, we already sent out request for proposal, and we already select the.
And if it's been brought up, or maybe I missed it, but was there an estimated revenue
Yes.
potential for the city? And what is that?
That will bring it. You want to do it now, or you want to bring it to?
Next month, we'll have the agreement with all the financing.
Okay.
Yes.
And so you're just going to pleasantly surprise us then? Is that what you're going to say?
It's going to bring in a good deal of revenue
Yeah.
for the city. Yes.
Yes, I suspected that, so that's great. Good job.
Yeah, we
Thank
have
you.
to get the ordinance approved first before we do business with them.
Okay, so you don't want to renegotiate or anything like that? Okay, but it sounds like it's going to be a very good business opportunity. Okay, very good, thank you.
Again, we're going to put it on our city properties.
Yes, over by the whale site or the, okay.
Correct.
One question is there consensus in the community that this is something that they wanted? Because I kind of had the feeling that the signs wasn't necessarily, like, they didn't want to become like Vegas, or they had this perspective, like, and so there's concern from community that we're putting up all of these.
That's the reason why we only allow it on the city properties. So not on the private. So this one will be put on the city properties.
Yeah, but how many?
One.
It's only one, and where would that be?
It's gonna be right behind Chevron gas station on the south side of I-10 freeway, west of Mountain View.
And the
city owned a water wells.
And this isn't gonna give approval to put up 5, right? Does this give
Correct,
you
just one,
more,
just
just
one.
only one?
Yes.
That is like that.
I want to confirm the code will continue to prohibit billboards and off-site signage. So it'll only be permitted on city-owned land, and so it would always be a city project.
I guess I'm just concerned that this is supported by community, like, that the community would want something like this. I mean, I don't doubt that you can generate revenue from it, that I don't doubt. But one of my concerns is, why did Stan Brower oppose it so much? Or why has this taken so long? Is there consensus that this is the direction they want to go?
Well, if we pass this, you have a month to find out.
But I'd rather not pass and then say,
It's not passed until it goes through the second reading. That's the point of a second reading, gives you a chance to think about it.
And I do want to remind you that we did have the revenue generating workshop budget meeting, and this was one of the items that the community came up with.
I would also agree with Councilperson Spencer. I think it's really important to generate revenue, but I know a lot of the community members would be concerned about this project. I'm not saying we shouldn't do it, but I think community input for how we decide to make money should be really important, because, a decision now can, be decisions later, and I wouldn't want us to jump the gun to save the budget quickly if there could be other options. But I really think the community input is quite important.
I do want to know on that. So upon approval, if we approve this tonight, it is a discretionary approval. The applicant still has to go through the conditional use permit process. The applicant still has to go through the approval of the property lease agreement process as well. So right now we're approving the ordinance, but we're still going to come forward with the actual project where we bring the design, the height, the location, and all the other details that I'm sure that you guys are going to want to know.
Which will be a public hearing items as well.
And then my second question would be, would we say, if we pass this, would it be better to maintain control of it ourselves versus doing an agreement? Because I feel like we would actually lose money in the long term by allowing someone else to actually lease it from us versus the 100% of the revenue coming to the city.
Yes, and I think most of those details would come forward with the agreement that we plan to present at next month's meeting. Again, it's going to be a partnership. Constructing a sign is over $1 million. That's not something that we're capable of doing on our own, but hopefully in our presentation next month, we can provide you those details.
And I thought about build ourselves, but the challenge that we have is we are not in the business of selling advertisement. Whereas this firm that we send out request proposal, that what they do, they have staff that go out there, do advertisement, try to do recruiting people to advertise on the sign. So that's why we decided to contract it out and then we get percentage of their revenues. That's why we decide to do it this way.
And would we have any control of the
Oh, yes.
images that go up on it?
Yes, we do. Yes.
I don't like the idea, but I know our budget without the measure is so tight. So I know. I hate the sign. I hate the signs,
I agree with
but
you,
I know
Rhonda, the
our
budget is
budget
very
is
tight.
I agree with you because at first I want to even put more signage. Is it just a big one? Put it everywhere, but I don't want all the signage either.
Yeah.
So let's try the big one and see what happens.
Okay.
We had the public hearing. It didn't last very long. Did you have the public hearing?
I did not.
No.
No.
I don't know.
didn't gavel
They're
it
so
yet.
short, I don't know.
Public hearing open. Closed.
You have the discretion of having a second public hearing next month. So if you want to invite people to come and talk, then that's the time to do it. So I will move the staff recommendation.
I'll second.
Motion is to determine that the proposed code amendment does not qualify as a project under the California Environmental Quality Act, CEQA, and to introduce Council Bill O-2026-08 on first reading, set the second reading to August 11th, 2026, waive the reading of the full ordinance and read by title only. An ordinance of the City Council of the City of Loma Linda, California, amending Chapter 17.18, signs, including Section 17.18.070, prohibited signs, and 17.18.190, definitions, and adding Section 17.18.200, city communication signs, to establish regulations and permit requirements for city communication signs on city-owned or controlled properties. Please vote. Motion carried. Thank you.
Okay, on to section 4, consent calendar.
Move it.
Second.
Actually, I did have a question on it where I thought the two presenters for the sand volleyball courts made a really great point, and I see that we have more pickleball courts on here. Would it be possible to look into that more and allocate funding to the sand courts? Because they said they can get 6 courts in for about the same amount as is this one pickleball court for the $267,000.
Again, that's why I gave them my business card. Yes, I'd be happy to look into.
Because that would take up a lot of space that Public Works wouldn't have to maintain for the same cost. So it would have a bigger
Well, for example,
impact.
right now, we used to have a sand volleyball court right at Hoda Crooks Park on top of the water tank.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's easy to do. We just remove the pea gravel rocks and replace it with sand. So, and we used to have that before. We can do that. And then I did mention that the gentleman did mention that he talked to my staff. That yes, we can put more pickleball court, more sand volleyball court at the Sister Trail Park. That I budget some money for that for this current fiscal year.
Okay, I know pickleball is really popular. Would it be possible to get a layout of the city parks and amenities, because I think they mentioned there's 0 sand courts right now, and I know that pickleball has quite a few courts in the city, as well as people put them in their backyards. The churches are putting them in, and to have a little bit more of a diverse landscape for the parks.
Right now, we have total 4 pickleball court, 2 at Linda Bailey Park and 2 at Citrus Trail Park.
Isn't there one at Elmer Diagno?
Yes, yes, but that they had to rig their own net because it's shared as a basketball court, a little hoop there. Yes. So my plan is for this one tonight is to right now we have 2 at Linda Bailey Park. We plan to put 2 new one just to the north of it, and we already have a space there. And then we plan to put 2 more at the
At Citrus Trails?
correct.
I know I've been to Citrus Trails, and I haven't seen the courts being used as
Oh
much
yeah,
as
there's a lot of
the
people
ones-
using it. A lot of people
There's
using it.
at Leonard Bailey, I always see those ones used, but when I've been at Citrus Trails, there's usually just one court being used. I've never seen both courts used. I know they do, but it seems that, I'm just interested, and I know finances are tight, of if this amount, if we, with Kathy and Jeremy Ohms, if they would want to present, and if we could allocate some of this funding if that presentation
We have
was
money
accepted.
still. We have to still have money set aside for more amenity at different park.
Do you know
So
how much?
I don't have it in front of me, but I'd be happy to share it with you. But it'll be in addition to, there'll be more funding in addition to 2 pickleball court that you can approve tonight.
Okay. Good. Do you have a second?
Yes.
Yeah.
So the motion is to approve the consent calendar items as presented and recommended in their staff reports. Please vote. Motion carried. Thank you.
Okay, section 5, old business. 5A, continue discussion and direction regarding the retention of an independent forensic financial consultant to conduct a comprehensive review and analysis of the city's budget, financial condition, revenues, expenditures, and fiscal outlook.
This one was brought up by Councilman Phil Duper, so you want to go over that again?
Oh, Councilperson Duper?
So for the last 2 years, Councilmember Popescu has alleged that we've got a bunch of issues with finances and that there's money potentially being spent in the wrong places or being mismanaged. And so my proposal was that we hire an outside consultant to come in and take a look at the city's books to see exactly where we're at and what we're doing and whether or not it's correct or not.
Okay, are there,
I'll just make a quick statement. I did watch the meeting from last week. I'm not sure what he's referring to. I think it's kind of interesting that today I just filled out an audit form from our audit, and all the questions that were on this form was regarding misuse of funds, not following the law, any fraudulent activity that's happening in the city. And obviously, we have an audit system in place that ensures that doesn't happen. I don't think there's any evidence whatsoever that there's anything improper doing in the city. So I think it sounds like you're implying that somehow I stated there was, and I don't think I have. So I'm not sure there's anything else to talk about.
so just to re-emphasize, you aren't concerned about financial misuse or misconduct, Councilperson Popescu?
Correct. I don't think there's anything improper doing in the city. We as council people may have different priorities about how we should spend our money, but that just because I have an opinion doesn't mean that we get to now spend taxpayers' money because you don't agree with my opinion. This is something we have to do by law, and I think our audit system does a very good job of ensuring that money is spent properly.
There is other aspects of like, there's other aspects to like, I have to say, there are other aspects to analysis to understanding where the money goes or how we do or things like that. In fact, I had a consultant that I spoke with from Boeing, and there is a software that they use to even analyze the contractors that you pick and whether the contractors, how many bids are given to a contract, how many change orders there are, what percentage those change orders or the change orders are over what the original bid, if you even went out to bids. So there's even a software, which I don't think any of us do to that level of looking at even the contractors that are selected. So there is some aspects to this that we don't get into, and just because we fill out a survey, I would have no idea of the contractors and what the bids are and who we use and how many of those did we go out for multiple bids, from art to filling the street potholes to everything, looking to see who the contractors are there multiple bids, how many are over the initial bid, and is there any relation across the contractors? That's something that's possible to look at, and there's actually a software to do that. If that's something of value to the city, that I'm open to discussion. But yeah, I think there's always a way that you can look into things and try to figure out, is the best use of money in this area or not. I agree that, it's always good to look at that.
So then, is the suspicion of impropriety now emanating from the mayor pro tem and not from Councilman Popescu?
No, I didn't say. I just said there's always, when you look at the data, there's always more that you can look at. There's different angles to better understand. I'm not indicating one way or another if I think. In fact, I had a hard time to fill out the form because I don't know all that goes on. I'm just saying that there's other ways you can look at the data and see and basically inform yourself that, no, it's good. It's on the up and up. It's what's going on.
But at what price?
That's, yeah. Yeah, nothing is for free. That's true.
Where at is that's why we do audit. The auditor actually come out and talk to me, pull out the file for each projects, and they pull out the pool sample. How do we bid the projects? How do we come up with the money? How do we pay the contractors? And they do audit all of that. Not every project, but they pull a sample. And we have procedures on how do we go out to bid. We do informal, which is, if it's less than 25,000, we do 3 bids. If it's more than 25,000, it has to be reviewed and approved by the city council. Then we do a formal bid where we have a prepare plan, specification, cost estimate, advertise the projects, and we actually have a bid opening right here where City Clerk Lynette opened the envelopes and actually read it out loud, or the bid. And then after we notify, okay, this company is the lowest bid, the other company can come up here and review the unit price, the bid, who the subcontractors are, and so forth. And so we do that.
Do we hire contract managers? In other words, when you have a project, or do we manage it ourselves? Okay, so that means that we have to have faith that you're looking at a contract, and even though it's a lowest bid, it's significantly, you understand the market and you understand that this is by far a very good deal relative to everything else.
Correct. That's why majority of the public works projects, to prepare a plan, specification is very important, that all the contractors bid the same projects with the same specification.
And it's kind of interesting because you bring up a very good point. And this is the only organization that sit on committees that doesn't have amendments to the contract. Because in a lot of other cities and organizations, you'll see amendments to existing contracts where it goes up 10, 20%. And guess what? They actually have project construction managers. So in light of that, their job is to make sure that they follow the contract and they don't try to abuse it. And on a separate note, just because you brought up, possible misuse or anything like that, the the tram system for the LAX. Everybody keeps saying, why is it delayed? It's delayed because they did not follow the standards for the building. And they hired contractors to review it. And guess what? It's costing an extra $2 billion as a result. There's an example of not proper oversight where you're really misusing money. I think it's great that in our city we haven't had any complaints or issues that projects have cost more than they should. So I think that's a very good example. Anyway,
Do we get change orders? Do any of the contracts have change orders?
Oh, yes, but when you
Yeah.
approved, hold on, when you approved the contract, for example, tonight, when you approve it, you have a contingency, 10% contingency. This is for any change order within, so we try to stay within the 10% contingency. If go over, I will talk to Diane and we'll come back to the city council to approve additional funding for the projects. So. No.
Yeah, other boards get amendments all the time. They go over the 10%, but we don't because things are managed well.
Do we have a software that we scan? We don't, right? Having a dream. That was so.
And Councilperson Spencer, I think you made a pretty good point, and it feels like we're having two discussions up here. One, are you meaning a software so we can see how we're spending the money and see if they align with our priorities in the city? And then the original discussion, which I think, there were some things that have been said in the past about perhaps we're not being good financial stewards of the funds, and those are a little bit of different topics, but I think there is value to both and value to understanding how we're using the money and how it aligns with our priorities.
I think the latter, because I think at one of the budget committees, it was said that we have, a lot of fluff in the budget or something like that. That was alluded to. And I think having the contracts and where we spend the money scanned and you're able to produce a report, I think that helps to eliminate any concerns that, you have extra in the budget, or I think it actually supports your position is what I'm saying.
So like tonight, you award the contract to the lowest bidder, okay? You also approved the lowest completion for the projects. So what that is it referenced that, okay, 2 months ago, the city council approved the projects, awarded the contract to this contractor to complete the projects. And also at the end is in the report, it shows how much the final project cost is and how much is within the contingency or not, how much is went over the original bid price and it's still within the contingency. So it's in the staff report. You don't need software. No. And again, I try to be, the way we do the staff report, we like to show everything. So it's in the staff report.
And I think one of the questions brought up previously was questioning overtime. There were some questions that had been brought up in the budget and those issues. So for Councilperson Spencer and Councilperson Popescu, I think the questions are a little bit convoluted right now as to what we're looking at. So maybe if there are specific questions, we could address those as they come up within the budget.
My understanding is that the Budget Committee was going to look into some of those issues.
Is the Budget Committee still looking into the issues?
I don't believe that's
correct. Or have we named them?
That's not correct. The Budget Committee's out there in the audience.
We need specifics. If you have specifics, we're more than happy to look at them. But we can't do...
Yes.
I used to be an auditor. I'm no longer doing auditing. That's somebody else is doing that. And as far as we know, the audits are clean audits.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have specifics, we're happy to look at it.
Are there specific questions we have that we could start with the Budget Committee?
You want to use this particular item to start discussing budget items and how to look at city finances? I don't know.
Well,
Is that okay?
The discussion was regarding the retention of an independent forensic financial consultant to do a comprehensive review. So I'm wondering if I guess instead of that, if we wanted to start internally and if we have questions that we could address here before we maybe spend the money for a forensic accountant.
I think that's a good idea. I've even suggested we bring a consultant to look at ways to save money, not to see how we spend money, which is a little bit different. I brought up the fact that other cities don't spend as much as our city. And I've always been very concerned and surprised about that. And it's a significant amount of money. I don't think this is the time to go into that, but I would love for you to put in an item on the next agenda if you want, and we can go over that, because I'll show you the cities, how much money they spend on things, and maybe you can help understand why we're spending so much on certain things. I would love to have that discussion. But that's up to the council consensus. I'm just saying my viewpoint relative to how we spend money, okay? So I'm not saying that we need to put it at the next agenda. I'm saying if you want to have a specific discussion, maybe we have another workshop on the budget. We do it a year in advance, but that's up to the council and everyone else. I'm not sure there's anything we can do about it. The budget's already been approved, but it's an exercise in discussion about how we do things.
Do you have a specific question or just a general overview of how we spend money?
I think if you're asking me to do that, I will do my own forensic, and I guarantee you I'm going to find a lot of items. Right now, I'm only thinking one or two. I'll bring those at the right time, because I know other cities spend significantly less money on certain things than we do here. I know that for a fact.
Do you mean significantly less or as a percentage?
Significantly less is in millions and a percentage. Absolutely.
I think when you look at yourself and you do a self-assessment, you have to be aware that there may be areas you're going to find where you actually need to spend more money, that you're actually undercutting yourself. You have to be aware that it's a double-edged sword. When you take a look and say, I'm going to cut, you have to be willing to say, oh, wait a minute, this is an area where we actually need to spend more to be up to standard. Just saying. It can go both ways.
Any other comments? Do we make a movement or we just move on to the next?
You're just asking for direction, so.
Okay.
I think this is an ongoing discussion that should be further explored. That's what I think.
Okay. Okay, Section 6, new business. Consider authorizing staff to issue the request for proposal for strategic planning consulting services to solicit bid proposals.
Okay, so at the last city council meeting, the city council did ask me to draft a request for proposal to hire a consultant to prepare the strategic planning for our city. So which I attached my draft request for proposal. Again, I didn't actually do the whole thing myself. I pretty much Google it and look at an example from different city and cut and paste and look at different ideas that different city did their strategic plan and the way they did their request for proposal. And so I came up with a draft request for proposal that you can look at it, add comment to it, delete items, and then if you approve, then you can authorize staff to send this request for proposal out to qualify firms that can do this strategic planning for us. And we could do 3 years, 2 years, 5-year plan. And after we receive this, we can figure out how to implement it. So understanding that this can cost $60,000 to as much as $100,000 to do this plan. So, or I guess, yeah, we could do it ourselves, and I plan to do it. So. So I need some direction. What do you want me to do? You want time to review the proposal, the proposed request for proposal that in the staff report right now and bring it back at the next city council meeting to approve it, or how do you want to do this? So.
I would be concerned that we would spend the money on a consultant without having the funding and ability to implement whatever proposal what the consulting firm would be able to suggest. So if they were to say, hey, we think you should add $1 million infrastructure to the parks, we're not in a financial position to do that. And if it's, a 5-year plan, then by the time we would have the funding to do it, we would be in a new phase. So that would be a little bit of a concern I have, that it wouldn't be the best use of our finances right now, but I definitely think that we do need a strategic plan, and maybe there could be a way. I know last time they talked about some workshops within the council, and maybe we could look at it first that way to see what we could do and what opportunities we might have before going with a consultant.
I concur. I was even thinking about that. I did watch the last council meeting, and I saw a long discussion of this item. My only comment is, we talk about money and spending it. I think this is a perfect example of not spending it wisely. I've talked to lots of residents, and not a single resident say, I don't want to live in this city because you don't have a strategic plan. You're not following your plan. Every resident I've talked to say, I want safe streets. I want to make sure everything's taken care of. I want to make sure the parks are clean, crime is low. It doesn't require a strategic plan. We talk to residents every day. They tell us what's important. One wants a pickleball court, wants a sand volleyball court. We as a council that gets to decide what is in the best interest for all the residents and how we approach that. Spending $50,000 or $250,000 on a consultant to do a strategic plan, I don't think it's a good idea for such a small city such as ours. Maybe if we had, a $300 million budget, or we're at LA where we're trying to develop significant programs, I think we are smart enough on this council to wisely make decisions about the future of the city. A lot of the decisions are mostly involving development and make sure we follow the rules and laws in doing so. That's what the general plan involves, because the quality of life in the city is dependent upon how we develop it. If we don't develop it properly, we're going to pay a price. And that's why other cities are having crime issues and infrastructure issues, because their development plans weren't put together and they didn't wisely allocate money where they needed to go. I have faith all of us have spent a lot of time in the community and have a pretty good understanding of what we think this community would like to see for itself. And I agree with the mayor. A workshop to identify priorities and specific things that maybe we as a city need to focus on, it's not a bad idea, and it's a good way of spending our, people are already paying us to be here. I don't think we're spending their money to get more opinions from consultants to give us more plans.
I think a strategic plan we need. It's like our compass. It brings us together, gives us a vision of where we're going. I really think we need. And in light of the budget, I'm thinking that, coming down with some sort of workshop, some way that we can do with templates and doing it. Absolutely, I think, hands down, not only do we need a strategic plan, but I also think fire should already be working on their strategic plan. I thought they were going to have a presentation tonight. I think that's important. We should have them come back and give us a presentation next time if the council approves that. But we have to know the budget's tight. We need looking to see how are we going to grow in spite of what we're facing, not only for us, but also for the fire as well. You have that new station that's sitting over there vacant. What is our plan for that? So we have to come together. We need to do ours. I think they need to do theirs. And I think we have to be mindful of the budget and where we're at. But overall, with the ballot measure not passing for Measure X, I think we have to come up with strategies of how do we gel together. And a big part of that may be even including the strategic plans. What grants are we going for together to get out of this? So that's my 2 cents.
Where are we? Have we already sent out the community survey that was talked about some meetings ago?
Yes, it's out right now and is due and to present it back to the city council on August 28th.
Do you know how it was sent out? Because none of the people I know have received it.
They mail it out.
Was it a individual mailer?
Yes.
Like it wasn't included in a water bill or
No,
anything, it was its own mail?
No.
It was actually that and more, because I've actually heard complaints about it. People are literally getting a lot of calls. And they said, what is going on? I can't believe you guys are spending money asking me for my opinion on this, literally.
Well, I do know quite a few people throw away their mail, especially if it isn't marked. So thank you.
Yeah, that's why obviously is the survey is not. Yeah, I did receive one phone call that they received the questionnaires. So.
Thank you. But I do think a strategic plan is needed, and it really can be a direction for us to go. It would just be my concern at this exact moment in time for the financial aspect of that, where I think if we start internally first, we have a lot of people who know a lot of things about the city, including our staff who is, feet on the ground, and our council who's spoken to a lot of people, that could be a good first step, and then we can reassess on a consultant.
So can I suggest something? That maybe after we completed our survey, community survey, and the consultant will come over and present it to us, we can use that as a starting point, and then we can come up with a workshop similar to what we did with the revenue generating workshop, where city council, city staff, a resident, the budget committee, different committee members can attend and come up with some idea on where we want to go, and we go from there. So, and again, I think we could do that. I know you want to hire a consultant, but it's up to all of you. So,
I agree with the city manager's explanation.
Which pretty much piggies back on what the mayor said, which is, let's meet as a group, do a workshop, and put together a strategic plan among ourselves. It's just a matter of semantics about the timing, so.
Is there a time frame that we're looking at? Because honestly, I mean, we can sit here and talk, and I think you need 2 strategic plans. I think you need one from us, and I think you need one from fire. And typically, I think it takes about 3 months to develop a strategic plan.
but at least we have to wait to the end of August to get the result of the community survey.
We need theirs
and we
too.
go from there.
No, but they have done a strategic plan in the past and didn't need the city's strategic plan because they had one in 2019. So I think we need both, given the state of affairs, that the ballot measure didn't pass. We have to come up with a plan.
I think a plan does really make people feel confident, because when we don't have information to share or to give, it makes people feel a bit uneasy. And if there was a strategic plan for the whole city, including all the different departments in it, it could really help us also answer questions that community members are asking.
So I guess the question is, how are we going to do it and when are we going to do it?
So the survey ends in August, and then will the firm compile the results and give us a report? Do you know when they'll have a report ready for us?
They plan to come over and present it to us here.
Will that be in September?
Yes.
So then maybe we could look to start planning a workshop for late September after we receive the report?
I'd say you need that, but I think you also need the final report from the fire strategic plan.
So you're saying the strategic plan that the fire department had created, what was it, 5 years ago?
It's
7 years ago, to have in
2019 through
August.
2025 is what they had. And there should be a final report out.
Could we have that in August then, since that one has completed and we are ready to hear a report? And then in the next month, we'll have the community survey, and then we'll start workshops?
I like
And another thing that I want to mention is 2.5 years, is it 20? A year and a half ago, we did had a workshop for revenue generating workshops that we have been actually cross out the thing that we have completed. So I would be happy to include that or have additional workshops looking at the revenue generating items that we look at a year and a half ago and how were we doing. So we can do that.
And I know I did read a 20-year plan that it ended in 2025 that had laid out some vision for the city. Was that a 20-year plan that concluded maybe a year or two ago? It talked about having a performing arts center and a sports complex and tech jobs. I know I read that report some time ago, so maybe we could pull that one and also see where we are from
If
when
you
that
can
one
find it,
ended.
please give it to me because
I spent some time reading. It was pretty long. I'll send you a link to what I was reading.
Send it to me, please.
Does that give you an indication of the value of strategic plans?
Well, that does bring
Nobody
up my,
remembers it, and it had pie-in-the-sky projects that were nowhere near accomplished.
I read it. I would assume
You're
everybody
the only
read
one.
it.
I think Redlands has a nice one, and they actually are accomplishing and reporting back. I think it gives you, if you do it and implement and stick to it, it's a good transparency for the community to see what's been done.
And then it also gives the community a way to add value and input and maybe get involved and help in ways that we might need or want assistance with. So I think that's a really great idea. So then,
I was just going to add, the only time the word sports complex was brought up was back in 2010 when we were discussing Area D, and we were going to open up a large park. And I remember one of the items that was brought up was, hey, you should look at the opportunity because there's a way to generate revenue. Obviously, there was pros and cons to it. So I guess the point I'm making is that there's all sorts of ideas coming out. We can come up with them. Staff can come up with them. So part of a workshop to come up with a strategic vision for our city and how we're going to implement it is something we can do. So I think just an example of that.
okay, that sounds good. So August we'll have a report from the fire department on their conclusion of their strategic plan. Then the September we'll have the report from the community survey, and then we'll look to scheduling a workshop for late September. Perfect. Okay. Then we shall go to section 7, closed session.
Madam Mayor, because the closed session will be inside, I would like to request that we open up the report from the council member and report from the officer at this time so that when we come out, we're pretty much going to adjourn the meetings after the closed session.
Okay, so we will go to section 8. Are there any reports of council members? No. 8B, reports of officers? No. So then I don't adjourn the meeting, we just go. Okay. These are what I've been looking for. Oh, okay. It's like, where are my glasses?
The attorney has to report out.
Thank you. Where did you find my stuff? Oh, that's why.
The attorney has to report out the results of the closed session. So we're technically still
In session.